The worst possible outcome in the history of the UFC happened last night, and I was streaming it, and I went to bed. I didn't even do an immediate reaction because of how fucking depressed I was. What a shit way to end an unbelievable card as McGregor blew out his knee in literal the first couple of seconds. And man, I'm fucking pissed. Oh man, I'm pissed. We have an incredible card. We have a lot to go through in today's video. This card really changed everything in the landscape of lightweight and just the kind of like timeline of the UFC. But I want to start here. I can't actually say anything bar just how pissed off I am. I was so hyped for this fight for months. I thought it was going to be a banger scrap. The whole build up, the whole lead up, it had so much at stake. And then just bang, like that, taken away from us. Conor McGregor, his athletic prime is completely over. He's never going to get over that original leg break. It was so bad that his legs, I think there's just, I just think this is a sign. Okay, he's got one fight left on his contract. There's no fucking way he's gonna, re-sign and extend. They'll probably finish this out with a trilogy. Max Holloway literally got the definition of easy money. And I just wanted to see how McGregor would look against Holloway. I wanted to see how he would look after all this time off. Max Holloway was ready. McGregor looked ready. Even though I think McGregor looked so nervous. Mohawk Mac was back. I genuinely thought he never looked as nervous in my entire life. But I'm just so pissed, bro. I'm so pissed we never even got a slither of a fight. We didn't get anything, okay? Holloway was like telling the ref, because originally I didn't actually see him blow his knee out or anything like that. Okay, I just thought he stumbled and stuff. I was so caught up in the moment I didn't actually realize. And I thought McGregor was actually doing an Oliveira and pulling guard on Holloway. I genuinely thought that's what he was doing. I was like, why doesn't McGregor stand up? Holloway's trying to get him to stand up. Then his knee would buckle and stuff. Then I actually saw it buckle, and then the fight was over. Okay, just the worst possible timeline that we could have got as UFC fans has just taken place. Holloway, he didn't really get the win. Like, if we're just being completely honest with ourselves, you cannot count that as a legit win if you're Max Holloway. I don't think he will either. He was calling for the trilogy. I don't know how you sell it, man. Like, Conor's career is completely over. Nobody is going to be interested in the trilogy apart from maybe a couple fans. Listen, his reputation's already destroyed in this country. I know the MMA guru is saying only gay people in Dublin, but the MMA guru is a fat fucking loser who's a fucking retard. Okay, let's be real with ourselves. So he's just a loser, even though I was a big fan of Guru for so long. Recently I just realized, holy shit, that guy's a loser. What was I even saying? Yeah, you're not going to be able to sell the trilogy. The McGregor return was already kind of frowned upon by loads of people. The fact he was on like I don't know what the fuck, Jimmy Fallon and stuff like that. I think that talk show was, load of people hated that. Now the whole MMA world is just like, he's unreliable now. Probably will come back and just get an injury. Why would anybody spend, like, if you bought tickets to the McGregor Poirier trilogy and you bought tickets to this and you're from Ireland, what is incentivizing you to go buy another flight to America? What is really giving you confidence that the next one is going to be different? Okay, because there's no incentive now, man. If he is picking up injuries left, right, and center and things like that, just such bullshit, bro. I wanted a scrap. I wanted something. I wanted at least a slither of a fight. Even if Holloway or McGregor just caught someone early on, that would have been completely fine by me. At least we got the proper winner. But this outcome, there's no winners in this fight. There's absolutely no winners. What a waste of a comeback for McGregor. For Holloway, there's nothing for his career. We all still remember the Oliveira fight. There's nothing for Holloway going forward, apart from maybe he might get the trilogy. But how are you going to sell that? Who's going to be excited for that? I'm not going to be excited for that. I'm not going to be excited for McGregor fight ever again, because his body's giving out now, because he never looked after himself the last couple of years. Okay, the last fucking 8 years maybe. McGregor just didn't look after himself. And it's starting to show now. Where we go from here, listen, I kind of touched on it before. I feel like the trilogy is going to happen. Maybe Holloway might fight Paddy Pimblett. Maybe. We're going to get to Paddy Pimblett and Benoit Saint-Denis's absolutely horrendous decision-making. And I haven't seen Max Holloway's post-fight press conference, but like, I'd say he's pissed as well, because this was his moment to get his redemption arc. This was his moment to put his name back in the hat, to really show people, listen, Oliveira did that to me in the grappling, but look what I can do in the striking. People forget, man, like, you need to remind people with these things, but no, never even got a chance. McGregor, I don't know what the fuck you were doing with that spinning back kick. I'm going fucking crazy at this fucking sport. I can't take it anymore, bro. I can't fucking take it. What it is. I'm going fucking crazy with this fucking sport, bro. Look how sweaty I am. That's fucking rank. It's so warm. I'm losing my fucking mind at this. I paid for. I stayed up all night. Now listen, the card was absolutely sick. Make no mistake about it. But I stayed up all night to see Conor McGregor, Max Holloway. That was the fight. Yes, Pimlet was there. Yes, I'm a massive Corey Sandhagen fan. Yes, I'm watching Lonnie Cabinet since Super Amateur. I wanted to see Holloway spark him or Conor spark him. I didn't want to see another fucking injury. But the thing is, this is MMA. Tom Aspinall with the eye poke. Conor with the other one. Chris Weidman. Anderson Silva. These always happen. Tom Aspinall with the knee. This is MMA. Why couldn't it have been some other fight? Why did it have to be this one? And listen, I see a lot of people saying, oh, you know, watching Conor fight made me feel young again and stuff like that. Man, go and actually just do something with your day. Like, actually try and be happy for once in your life, okay? Listen, McGregor, fair enough if, like, that was a really good time. But, like, come on, bro. Like, the UFC is good now. It's still elite. Well, I can't actually believe that happened. The worst part, we got the bad ending. To say we got the bad ending, like, you know in the endings where every, like, main character can die? That's kind of just what happened. And I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of it, bro. But listen, we'll get on to an actual fight. Paddy Pimblett versus Benoit Saint Denis. If any of you were in my stream, I literally said in the walk-up, if Benoit Saint Denis shoots a takedown, Paddy will wrap him up. That is exactly what happened. Did you learn nothing from Bobby Green? Absolutely nothing? What are you doing shooting on Paddy Pimblett? You fucking idiot. That was one of the worst decision makings I have ever seen from Benoit Saint Denis. You don't shoot on Pimblett. You do the Justin Gaethje route. He gave you the blueprint. And bet Bobby Green gave you the blueprint of what not to do. What a fucking sap. What an absolute fucking spa. And listen, what a finish from Paddy Pimblett. He has some of the most elite jiu-jitsu in the division. And I think him versus a lot of these wrestlers now changes. I feel like him versus Sarukin, how can you not say he might catch Sarukin in something? Oliveira nearly caught Sarukin in something. You know, twice. At the end of the second round, if there was another 30 seconds, maybe Arman would have went out. You just don't know. Actually, I do know he would have lost that fight. But still, Sarukin is prone to getting in bad positions against high-level grapplers, like we see in the Oliveira fight, and even in the Mateo Scammer fight. Look at some of the scrambles there. Like, if Sarukin goes in there and shoots a takedown, which he will, because he'll go in there trying to prove something, Paddy can wrap him up. Paddy can wrap any of these guys up. He is so good on the ground. And the improvements that Pimblett has made the last 3.5, 4 years, 4 years in particular, insane. He looks so much better than he did in the Jared Gordon fight and stuff like that, even though he did break his foot. But Benoit Saint Denis, just with a terrible decision to shoot on Paddy Pimblett. The slow takedowns that BSD has was never going to work on someone as high level on the ground as Pimblett. Gaethje gave you the blueprint. He gave you the roadmap. You stand there and you strike with Paddy. You don't shoot takedowns. If Paddy Pimblett was any good at wrestling, oh my god, he would be so dangerous. Like, he would be champion. But he never shoots any takedowns. He never, ever shoots takedowns. And I always say that to people. They're like, whoa, well, Pimblett might go in and wrestle this guy, man. It's going to be bad news, bruh. Pimblett doesn't do that. Because that's what people do. Anyone who doesn't know how to beat Paddy will just go in there and shoot a takedown. You know, the game plan is to strike there and stand with Pimblett. That is how you beat him. You go to the ground, you're going in his world, gonna be bad news. It always ends up that way. Benoit Saint Denis, with just a negative fight IQ, one of the worst decision makings I have ever seen. We all knew Bobby Green had a terrible decision to shoot, but Benoit Saint Denis was like, bet, let me see how badly I can fuck it up. But this opens up the division. Listen, Pimblett versus Holloway might be there. Maybe McGregor's out for another year. And Max is like, listen, I want to, meet Paddy. We can find out. December, let's go. Maybe he'll do something like that. Maybe Sarukin is there. Maybe Oliveira is there. The four of them, that's like this, not the triangle, the fucking fatal four-way I guess you could say. You kind of mix and match that whatever way you want. If you don't want to see a rematch, you could do Paddy versus Charles and then Max versus Arman, or you could do the beef route of Paddy versus Arman, but no one wants to see a Charles versus Max rematch. You know, it's just not really optimal. Maybe Quillan Salkid is going to be in the mix if when he beats Mateus Gamrot, or if he beats Mateus Gamrot, maybe you give Quillan Salkid a top prospect like one of these guys. But I feel like Pimblett versus Max makes an awful lot of sense. I would still pick Max Holloway to beat him. Absolutely. 100% Max Holloway would beat Paddy Pimblett because Holloway's not going to go in there and shoot. Holloway's going to stand there and trade. Holloway's volume punches and volume strikes are going to be a nightmare for Paddy to deal with. And unlike St. Denis, he's not going to go in there and shoot. Why would you shoot on Pimblett? Like, did you learn nothing from the Bobby Green and Justin Gaethje fight? That's the one thing you don't do. Justin Gaethje showed if you stand there, you can beat Paddy Pimblett. Bobby Green showed you don't fuck with this guy on the ground. Okay? He's dangerous. He's fucking elite. And I'm delighted Pimblett got this. In a minute as well, incredible performance. Just how good is Renato Moicano? Just how good is Moicano's jiu-jitsu as well? To get a 10-7 on Benoit St. Denis. Or just how good is Jared Gordon, I should say. Incredible performance from Pimblett. I would love to see him versus Max. If they do Oliveira, if they do Sarukian, if they do Quillan Salkid, if they do any of those matchups, I'm happy. I want to see Pimblett in there before the end of the year. He took no damage, no scratch on him. There's no reason we shouldn't see him in there, you know, December or something like that. You know, Pimblett doesn't really like to be active as much. I feel like he fought a lot in 2022, 2023 in that kind of space, and he definitely picked up a lot of injuries and things like that, so he's definitely probably wanting to ease up a little bit and kind of stay that little bit more, give his body that little bit more time to recover and things like that. But listen, incredible performance from Paddy Pimblett. Benoit St. Denis, maybe he gets the winner of Quillan Salkid versus Mateus Gamrot. I feel like that could be a matchup as well. He fumbled it so bad. So bad. Incredible performance from Paddy Pimblett. We'll see what happens, bro. We'll see where he goes next. Corey Sandhagen, Mario Batista. As a wise man once said, beakers in test tubes, Corey Sandhagen is here. And I don't even think this was the worst Corey Sandhagen I've ever seen. I actually think he looked pretty okay in the first round. I feel like he won the first round, and then Mario kind of figured out his range. Mario kind of figured out Corey's game. Just was one step ahead, had a little bit more volume. Compared to Sandhagen, who was really trying to go in there and outclass the guy. But, like, I don't know if Corey's ever learned. He needs to be on it just from the start. And Corey's cardio didn't look as good in this fight. He just looked one step behind Mario after the second round. When Batista kind of figured out his range, got Corey on the back foot, that's when Sandhagen had a lot of problems. I do think Sandhagen's output in the first round was great. His jab worked money, and his low kicks were there. But then Batista started implementing the grappling, and the end of the third round, for like the last minute, he was just dunking Sandhagen up and down the fucking cage. And it was sad, man. It was heartbreaking, because I'm a huge Corey Sandhagen fan. I've always been a Corey Sandhagen fan. But the problem with Corey Sandhagen is, unless you are like a glass chin, and you have no ability to like defend yourself, no, I won't say he's like Michael Venom Page in that way, but unless you're begging to be KO'd and you have a shit chin, Corey Sandhagen isn't finishing fucking anybody. And that's the reality about Sandhagen. Marlon Moraes and Frankie Edgar were two serious KOs. Who else? He doesn't finish fights. He didn't finish Cheeto. He implemented the grappling against Rob Font, even though he torn tricep and things like that, I know. But still, he got not dismantled, but he was one step behind Umar Nurmagomedov at all times. Marabin in there and showed levels against Corey. Yeah, showed levels against Corey. And Corey's just not there. Corey's not top 3. Corey's not top 4, unfortunately. Maybe he was once upon a time. Aljo smoked him as well. He's just losing against the next level. He's probably the best. He'd beat everyone outside the top 5 now. Like, obviously, Batista, O'Malley, Umar, Merab, and Yan are all there. But apart from that, Corey's going to beat everyone else. But he's not beating the top of the top. He's not beating them. I thought he went on a really good streak there. You know, for a while, he was beating Song Yudong, Figgy, Rob Font, things like that. Picking up some good wins. Cheeto when he was on momentum as well. But now Corey's just taking a step back. He's definitely not looking as good as he once was. He's not as sharp as he once was. definitely slowing down a little bit in the later rounds. And the Corey Sandhagen of old is gone. And Mario Batista had a very fucking close fight with Umar Nurmagomedov and dropping Umar Nurmagomedov. That shows you the level that Mario Batista is working at. And Corey just isn't that level. You know, he showed it. He's shown it in every fight against one of the elites that he's not that level. And now for Mario Batista, listen, we have Umar versus Song coming up. Maybe if Song gets a miracle win against Umar, you do that, but I really don't think so. Mario Batista O'Malley makes the most sense for me. Unless Mario waits it out and kind of sees how the division lays out, because Marab versus Yan 3 is going to happen. It needs to happen if we're just being honest with ourselves. Maybe he's going to fight the loser of that. Maybe he'll fight the loser of that. Maybe he fights the winner of, you know, Umar versus Song if it's Song, because I really don't want to see a Mario Batista Umar, you know, rematch anytime fucking soon, to be honest with you. We'll see what happens. I think, you know, Mario versus Sean won't happen because they're buddies and things like that. So, you know, they'll hold hands and, you know, only fight for the belt, you know, same as Marab and you know, Sterling just bitch shit. But Beakers and test tubes, Corey Sandhagen just got outclassed last night, man. And it's sad because I fucking thought Corey was like the top echelon of the division. And he has been for so long. But you break it down. He loses to Umar. He loses to Mario. He loses to Yan. He loses to Aljo. He loses to TJ. These are all contending challengers for the title or champions. And, you know, Mario Batista is not going to be far off it, especially if O'Malley gets the belt. And Corey fought for an interim belt, fought for an undisputed world title, was always just short. Always fell short against these top guys, but then beat the guys outside of the title picture very comfortably. So he's just like a bang number 5 fighter now. And it hurts, bro. It hurts. It hurts, man. I'm heartbroken, man. I wanted Corey Sandhagen to win this one. I really fucking did, bro. And I was backing him. Brandon Royval versus Lonnie Kavanagh. What a fucking scrap. What an absolute fucking scrap. My prediction of Royval's forward pressure definitely was correct. And I thought Lonnie Kavanagh is dangerous. Lonnie Kavanagh is sharp. And he dropped Royval and really badly hurted Royval. But Royval's forward pressure definitely gave Lonnie problems. Royval's jab was absolute money. He was a lot more output in this fight, whereas Lonnie was just kind of like much more precise, and that definitely worked. But when Royval got in his face, you could see Lonnie's hair pop. He was getting pop, pop, pop. Royval definitely stuck at range with the jab because he knew if he got in close, look what happened. You know, Royval got dropped. And then when it went on the ground, I thought Lonnie was doing quite well for a while. But then Royval's so good on the ground. Like, this dude had a lot of competitive scrambles with Pantoja, a lot of, you know, competitive scrambles with Moreno and things like that. Royval is definitely, you know, he's definitely, like, he submitted Kai Kara France after getting dropped as well. People forget, man, it was a great performance. With full Lonnie Kavanagh, though, I just think he's missing that experience against the top guys. Because Brandon Moreno is no longer a top guy in flyweight. There's a lot of guys that would beat Brandon Moreno now. And Lonnie is definitely a top flyweight. What's next for him? I don't know. I feel like he needs to take some time. He took a bit of damage in that fight. Maybe come back later in the year and just kind of see what way the landscape of the division is there. Maybe a Charles Johnson rematch. I'm sure he'd love to get that one back. It's been nearly a year, I think, since he got slept. Maybe he'll do that. But for Royval, this kind of just keeps him in the title picture. This kind of keeps him being talked about. This kind of keeps him, you know, Brandon Royval's still there. Because if he had lost this one, it would have been bad. It was going to be bad for Royval. If he had lost this one, he would have come off 2 losses in a row, and especially the way he got chinned against Maynard Cape. Fights like this, Royval just kind of gets done. You know what I mean? He seems to get these one against the, you know, the Tatsu Torres and things like that. Whereas Lonnie, if you give him time and space, he's going to fucking piece you up. Like, no question about it at all. But if you get in Lonnie Kavanagh's face, he's not a fighter that does well on the back foot. Now, he does well at countering, but he's not a back foot fighter. He's more of a front runner. But textbook from Royval. Looked great. Definitely had some scary moments. Lonnie caught him coming in and stuff like that. Lonnie did look sharp. Like, Lonnie Kavanagh is going to be a problem in the division for a long time. But he is small. Royval submitting him. Maybe people look at that and think, right, maybe I can work my way here. Because Royval definitely looks sharp on the ground. But Royval's always been so sharp on the ground. Like, Royval's always been a fucking killer on the ground. Now, we'll see what happens with the flyweight division. You know, it's going to be... Flyweight's so good at the moment. We need Pantoja versus Van. Listen, I don't know. I want to see Maynard Cape fight for the belt. Fuck everyone else after that. We don't really know what's going to happen with flyweight. A lot of fun matchups could be made. Maybe Royval versus Tatsu in a rematch could be interesting. Because, you know, that was a real close fucking fight. But Royval just gets these kind of fights done. That's the thing about Royval. He's a fucking dog like that. He just gets these kind of fights done. Textbook Royval. Incredible performance. Terence fucking McKinney is literally the most unbettable fighter in the history of the UFC. You cannot bet on Terence McKinney. The only thing you can bet on Terence McKinney is that the fight will not go the distance. You have to give him a lot of credit there. But Terence McKinney is just the most fucking 50-50 fighter I have ever seen in the history of the UFC. It is fucking crazy, bro. It is absolutely fucking crazy. He was absolutely destroying Bobby Green, got him down, was landing some good ground and pound, gassed out. Bobby Green just got up and just fucking, I don't even know, knocked him out with 1 second to go. Was it an early stoppage? Listen, it was 1 second, but, you know, the ref doesn't know that. That's the thing. And McKinney was kind of curling up, didn't really want to be in there. And that's the thing about McKinney. When he blows his load and you know, completely gasses out, that's when the problem is. That's when McKinney kind of loses belief that he can win. And he just kind of, you know, wilts. And Bobby Green is one of those guys who's got so much experience. He's a dog. Bobby Green was badly cut open in that fight as well. But McKinney was just all over him. How do you fumble that? How? I honestly cannot, you know, understand how Terence McKinney fumbled that. Absolutely fucking crazy for McKinney. Bobby Green, and I'm not saying King Green. Oh, fuck out of here with that shit. But Bobby Green did what he had to do. He didn't look good at all. Terence McKinney was the better fighter in there, in my opinion, but just gassed out. Textbook McKinney. Textbook. Okay? Anytime he catches himself winning, he has to fuck it up. He has to. He's like Brendan Allen, but at least Brendan Allen can go rounds. McKinney cannot go rounds. He's so like, I feel like McKinney holds on to this thing of, right, I'm known as this guy that, you know, sink or swim in the first round. I need to keep that. If you just took your time with better shot placement, better shot selections, and things like that, there would be so much more opportunities for you to win the fights. And so much, you're skilled. You have the skill. You have the striking. You are a good fighter, but you just cannot control your gas tank. I just, maybe it's because I had McKinney in my parlay. I just thought, right, Bobby Green's old. Bobby Green's chin is gone. Maybe McKinney might be able to win. But boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I fucking wrong. Terence McKinney, man, get your shit together. It's going to be bad, Nikita. It's going to be bad, Nikita. Robert Whittaker, textbook. Absolutely textbook. Looks sharp as fuck. 1 step ahead, Nikita Krylov the whole time. Picking up the standing finish. Looked fucking sharp in there. But Whittaker is going to get shinned by anybody with power in that division. And anybody with some movement. Because Whittaker's very susceptible to being hit. Nikita Krylov just has no output and no ability to mix it up on the feet. I thought Whittaker was safe enough in this fight. I knew the movement was going to be too much. The double jab he does is absolutely, you know, it's class. Always works. It's always been money. And Whittaker just looks sharp, man. And he's, is he going to be a problem at 205? No. No, like, I think Yuri would just flatline this guy. I think Khalil Roundtree would give him a lot of problems. I think Ankalaev would beat the shit out of him. Carlos Solberg would do damage. And, you know, Israel Adesanya leaving CKB. I might make a video about that soon because it's a little bit sus. Okay, it's a little bit sus. So is Izzy, but is what it is. Yeah, the double jab for Whittaker looks sharp. Nikita Krylov just couldn't find the range, couldn't find the target because Whittaker was just constantly moving and things like that. Very good head movement. Whittaker's counters were on in this fight. And I love seeing Whittaker win. He's honestly one of my favorite fighters. I think he's a fucking solid dude. I've always been a big fan of Robert Whittaker. And I don't know how you can't be. I don't know how you can't be. So, textbook from Whittaker there. Gable Stevenson. I just do not fucking like Gable Stevenson at all. And I really don't need to go into detail about why I think this guy is a terrible human being. Because we all know Loophole Stevenson over here. I just want to see him get sparked. I want to see him get laid the fuck out unconsciously, brutally. And, yeah, I feel like hopefully that will happen. I think Tom would absolutely smoke this fucking dork. I hope Gable Stevenson fights Josh Hockett. So Josh Hockett brings up, the whole Loophole situation in the press conference. Fuck Gable Stevenson. Did he look good? Not really. You know, he definitely looked, he was a lot better than the opponent, but there was a lot of just kind of swinging. It was a real pub fight. It was a real bar fight. And listen, he got the job done, picked up a nice TKO. But I just, like, the fact you have John Jones in your corner as well. Fuck Gable Stevenson, man, piece of shit. Adrian Yanez versus Cody Garbrandt. I don't know how many times I need to say, wow, Cody Garbrandt got chinned. He needs to hang it up. Because it seems to be just like a common trend that Cody Garbrandt just gets chinned. And, oh, well, if it was Cruz Cody, man, you would have been on, man. Fuck off with that bullshit, man. Cruz Cody hasn't been a thing for years. It was a one night. One night, okay? Almeida and stuff like that, they were one night. Okay? Cody Garbrandt is literally one of the most unbettable fighters along with McKinney in the UFC. I genuinely think, you know, McKinney and Cody Garbrandt, two most unbettable fighters we have in the sport. Genuinely think that. Adrian Yanez didn't even look absolutely sharp. Just was swarming Cody, hurt him, and then got the finish. And it kind of just boils down to that. Adrian Yanez really fell off a cliff. I used to think Adrian Yanez, yeah, like you got some serious striking skills here. You can really go far and you might be able to pick up some sick wins in this division. Then he found Rob Font. Then he ran into Rob Font and Rob Font just absolutely starched him. It was still a good win from Adrian Yanez. Like he did what he had to do in there. He picked up a solid performance against someone, listen, as much as I say Cruz Cody was a one-time thing and stuff like that, Cody Garbrandt's always going to be dangerous. It's just Cody Garbrandt 101. He's always going to be dangerous. But Adrian Yanez did what he had to do. He did what he had to do, man. And I'm impressed. Luke Riley. Yes, lad. Luke Riley's problem. But I feel like Luke Riley looked very much improved in this fight from his last one. Definitely. I feel like he... You know, Michael Ashwell's a pretty tough guy. He's not an easy walkover. And I think the fact that Luke was a co-main event maybe threw him off and stuff. Kind of got to build him slowly. You know what I mean? This was the perfect place to put him on the prelims. You know, opening up the prelims. Not too much, you know, star value and stuff like that being put on him. It's a nice place for him to be at this stage of his career. But Luke Riley's 3-0 in the UFC. 2 first round knockouts and a solid performance against Michael Ashwell. And I think Luke Riley just looks sharp as fuck in this fight. I am a little bit worried about guys with speed against Luke Riley and good head movement. Even like a Nathaniel Wood would be a very interesting fight. But his boxing's incredible. His boxing is so sharp. It's so technical. I think he's good. Great performance from Luke Riley. Chuffed that he got the win. Was nervous, but I had faith. And the rest of the card, Tracy Cortez losing. I mean, fucking, it was a sick watch anyway. But the rest of the card was sick. But I want to... It's just so pissed off, man, with the way the main event was and just the build-up was there, the hype was there. This was it for Conor. This was the moment. If he was ever going to come back and really get fans on his side again, which I don't even know if, you know, it's possible anymore. But if he ever got fans on his side again, this was it. This was the moment. This was his big opportunity. And, you know, against a credible opponent like Max Holloway, I thought it was perfect, bro. I thought there was something in the air that McGregor was going to get this one done. I did. And I was wrong. Well, I wasn't even wrong. Just, why? After the first kick he threw, what is that trying to tell the universe? What is the universe trying to tell McGregor here? I feel like the Conor McGregor era died last night. And I feel like all future hype for Conor McGregor died last night. It's going to be hard to sell another McGregor fight because you can't label this as the comeback again. Like a fucking again. How many times are we gonna label McGregor fights the comeback? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I think he needs to stay away from the sport. I think it's over. You had one of the best runs of all time. This, that, and the fourth, but it's over, bro. You're not that guy, man. Oh yeah, sure, bud. Your time is up. Your time is up, boys. But like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.